Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute since I have posted. I wanted to go ahead and give you guys some picks for today's games. Week 14. Sunday, we got a good slate today. We have a good matchup in the 1 o'clock game between the Bengals and Bills. That should be a good high-scoring game. Some other good games to target. You got a lot of injuries from a handful of teams, especially like the Cardinals receivers are super banged up. So let's go ahead and get into the picks. At quarterback, I think Josh Allen this is a prime spot to bounce back. He's had a couple of rough games in a row. Bengals have the worst defense in the league. They're at home in Buffalo. Expect there to be fireworks in this game. It's like a 53.5 total. But the only thing is that he's very expensive, almost $8,000. You can save $1,000 and go down to Lamar Jackson. It's a tougher matchup against the Steelers defense. He's also been poor in his last few outings. It is a good spot to bounce back. I also don't mind going to Joe Burrow at 65, just because I think that game's going to be a shootout. You know, he has Chase and T. Higgins to throw to. The price tag is good. In the 5K range, you got Jacoby Brissett. Tough spot against the Rams. They're a good defense, but they just continue throwing the ball. They throw a ton. He's very efficient. You know, he had 47 completions a few games ago. And he's consistent just because he has McBride and he has Wilson's been a good target for them when Harrison's been out. He can run a little bit. I don't mind that price tag. And then the 4K range, you got Tyrod Taylor against the Dolphins defense. I'm going to go ahead and put him in just because price tag is really good at $4,900. They're at home. They're going to throw a decent amount. I mean, probably not a ton. Probably not like as much as some other teams like the Rams and the Cardinals. But if you get 30 attempts out of him, you can run a little bit too. He had 44 yards last game, eight carries. Potentially get you a rushing touchdown, which would be huge. But then he's shown some good chemistry. Last week with Mitchell. Adonai Mitchell had a great game. A couple weeks prior to that, 2 games before that, he had a good connection with John Mechie. So he has a couple of young receivers that really want to prove themselves and make a name for themselves last few weeks of the season. Over at running back, you got a lot of top-end talent. This week, you got Jonathan Taylor, who's had no touchdowns in his last 2 games. This spot here, Jags are a okay defense. Price tag is expensive. I think I'd rather go down a little bit. I think Devon Achane's in a good spot. He's probably my favorite of the top 3. You got James Cook. His price tag is amazing against the Bengals defense. I'm going to put him in just to get a piece of the Buffalo side because I know I'm going to get at least one Bengal in my lineup. So to bring back with James Cook. You also have Chase Brown, who's very affordable at $6,700 if you want to get to both running backs in this game. I think that makes a lot of sense. Chase Brown's also a 3-down back. Cook, you'll sometimes lose some carries to like Ty Johnson, but for the most part, he's going to get you 20 touches a game. Now that Joe Burrow is back, Chase Brown's a guy that can catch you 5 to 10 passes. He can run 15 to 20 times too. Good price tag. And then James Cook, don't you kind of know what he is? He's a really good running back, can break 50 plus, break a huge one at any given moment. I like both running backs can catch passes too out of the backfield. I like to get to both. Other running back options that you can target here in the 6K range, Breece Hall. 5K range, I think Neal is a really good target. Bam Knight at 52 is also a good value pick. And then you can go to Bucky Irving at 7,000. Wide receiver, your top is Jackson Smith and Jigba, who had his first down game of pretty much the season. First time under 13 fantasy points. He's only been under 20 fantasy points twice, and last time was the worst outing of the season. But it was a 26-0 game. They didn't have to throw much in the second half. Not like they were in a shootout. So this spot against Atlanta, we know Sam Darnold didn't have much passing yards last game. It's a bounce-back spot. But I'm going with Jamar Chase. He's got his main guy back in Joe Burrow, 14 targets. Only caught half of them, so there was some opportunity for more. No touchdown last game either, and he gave you still 21 fantasy points. Jamar Chase, you know what he is, an absolute beast. He can have 50-point games, 40-point games. He's done in the past. We know Drake London is out, so that just makes Pitts look a little bit more appealing. It might make, it might make Mooney look a little bit better, but he hasn't. He's been super inconsistent. And then you got Bijan, who also get maybe a few more targets now that London's out again. You have a nice price tag on Justin Jefferson. I think for tournaments, he makes a lot of sense as his price. If you don't want to go to Jamar Chase, you can take a lot of savings and go down to T. Higgins. No Marvin Harrison. They're also missing Greg Dortch is on IR, so they don't have much besides Michael Wilson and Trey McBride. Weaver is also expected to play, so they got a couple guys coming up from practice squad. But Michael Wilson, he's going to get you double-digit targets. I could pretty much guarantee he'll get you 10-plus targets in this one just because they're so banged up in the wide receiver position, and they're probably going to be down, so they're going to be throwing a lot. So at 56, he's a tough fade, in my opinion. And then we know that Rome Odunze is out for the Bears, so then you're looking at a couple guys that are cheap on the Bears side if you wanted to get to them for savings. You have Zacchaeus at $3K flat, and then you have Luther Burden the third at $3,800. I think Burden is a better value pick. And then even DJ Moore at $1,000 more than Burden is also affordable, and he's at a good price tag. If you wanted to target him, I think that makes some sense. But I got Tyrod Taylor. You don't need to stack a guy like Taylor with anybody, but you got two receivers below 5K on the Jets and Adonai Mitchell. And it's kind of, I think Adonai Mitchell will be more popular just because of his last game. But we know that Mechie also has upside. So if you wanted to pivot to John Mechie, that makes sense. But I'm going to go with Mitchell. He finally showed up last week. He had a nice 47-yard touchdown catch. A week before that, he had some bad drops against the Ravens. So hopefully he corrects that. The talent is there. It's just making sure that he's sometimes just kind of concentrates fully and doesn't, drop passes and doesn't, drop the ball before heading into the end zone. Just mental things like that has plagued Adonai Mitchell throughout his career. But hopefully he turns the corner with the Jets. So that are my 6 picks I like this week. At least you're still 4K. Go with a 3K defense. Go with a tight end. You know which ones are the ones to target this week. And then flex, kind of touched on the ones that I like. So that's what I got for you guys. Best of luck. I will see you next time.